Want to start your own handmade business, but you're not sure where to start? Hey there, I'm Janet LeBlanc from Paper and Spark, and I help makers and artists just like you start and scale online shops so that you can achieve your entrepreneurial dreams and hit your financial goals with less stress. By the end of this video, you'll know all the major steps of how to sell your own products online legally and with confidence. Make sure to stick around for my bonus tip on how to not overthink the startup process so that you can get selling as soon as possible. You might be surprised by some of the things that are missing from my list. So the first step to getting your handmade business started is to decide what you want to sell. What is your product going to be? Exactly what will you be selling? Start small. You can launch with just 2 or 3 products or types of products and grow from there. Don't feel like you need to start with 100 products right off the bat. Don't get hung up on getting your product suite perfect. Your sales, your traffic, your customers, your views, the market itself will dictate what is going to do well and what you want to explore further, so you can tweak your product suite as you go. You don't have to get it perfect right away. Think about what you currently love to make and share with other people. If it's something that you already are talking about, that you already love to show your friends or family, that's going to make your job as a marketer easier. So don't necessarily feel like you need to start from scratch. You also want to consider long-term viability. Choose products that aren't going to cost you loads of time or money or energy. They're not cost prohibitive or time prohibitive to create and sell over and over and over again. Set yourself up for success. Make it easy. I want to know what you've decided to sell. I'm curious, so let me know in the comments. Number 2, it's important to define your ideal customer. Who is going to buy your thing? Who are you going to be talking to? You don't need to waste a bunch of time creating an ideal customer avatar, giving them a fake name and a fake biography. I know sometimes you see exercises out there to do that. I don't think you need to create this fake customer avatar, but you do need to think about where your ideal customers hang out, what sort of things they like, what they don't like, what they're attracted to, what makes them want to tune out. These sorts of thoughts and questions will help you make smarter decisions throughout the rest of these steps, throughout the rest of the startup process, like where to sell your products, how to price it, how you want to position it. You need to know who you're talking to. Number 3, name your business and register that business name. The fun part of starting a business is often coming up with what your shop name, what your business name will be. So again, keep that ideal customer in mind. Keep who you're talking to in mind. What sort of business name or what sort of words or phrases will attract them or intrigue them, get them interested? I'd brainstorm a list of all the possible names that you like and then select your top 3. Search for domain names and the trademark database for your top 3 choices. I've got resources for how to do that in the description of this video. Search for domain names and trademarks for your top 3 choices. You don't want to choose something that's already got a URL register that you can't have or is already trademarked. I've got a link to the trademark database in the description of this video. Bounce your top 3 ideas off of friends and family. Ideally, people who are in your target audience or are your ideal customer already, and see how they respond. You might be surprised by some of the feedback that you get, things that you didn't necessarily think of. Once you nail your new brand name, you want to register it with your state or your local area. This is usually done at the county, city, or parish level if you're in the United States, and it's usually called getting your DBA license. DBA stands for Doing Business As, or sometimes it's called your Assumed Name Permit or Fictitious Name Permit. Basically, whatever your area calls it, it gives you the legal ability to do business under a name different from your own legal name. It's an essential legal step to getting set up properly, so don't skip it. What I suggest doing to get started with that is Googling the phrase DBA permit and your county name to get started to find where to do that. If you need help, if you have a question about that, feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll help you as best as I can. I also would recommend heading over to Google Domains and buying your business domain or URL now so that you have it in case you want to start your own website later on. Those are my first 3 things. If you've had any aha moments so far, don't forget to give this video some love by giving me a like and subscribing to my channel for future videos like this. Number 4 is deciding where you will sell. Choose one online home to start your business. Keep in mind your ideal customer. Where are they hanging out and shopping online? Do they shop on the platform you're choosing? How will you market to them? For an e-commerce shop selling handmade products or physical products, I almost always recommend starting on either Etsy or Shopify. I think those are the best two options right now. Etsy has loads of built-in traffic, people who are looking to shop handmade, so they can help you get sales from the get-go. They're a great, inexpensive option to start out with for a new baby business. Shopify is another great option for e-commerce sellers. It offers a lot more customization, but you're going to be required to drive all of your own traffic from the very beginning, so it can be a little bit harder to get off the ground over there. If you want to fully dive into the pros and cons of Etsy versus Shopify, make sure to watch my video that dives into this topic. Next, get a bookkeeping system to support you. Now you may be like, oh, already, really, why is this on the list? I don't want to deal with keeping my books already. But I promise if you do this from the very beginning of running your business, you will not regret it. Some of the things that I've mentioned in the list, you're already spending money on to get your business started. Website fees, supplies to make your materials and your inventory, that DBA permit with your county, buying a domain name with Google Domains. You want to be tracking these costs and these expenses in a bookkeeping system somewhere so that you can have a record of them so that you can remember to deduct them on your taxes when the time comes. Having to backtrack on what you spent money on before April 15th is really painful. It's something that a lot of e-commerce sellers that I work with regret. So get your system set up now and start recording your expenses and soon enough your sales so that you will always know how much you're spending and how your business is doing. Of course, I recommend my simple system made especially for makers and e-commerce sellers in mind, a Paper and Spark spreadsheet. I have ones that import in from Etsy, from Shopify, Amazon, and lots of other sources, and they come with step-by-step video instructions. 6, you want to nail your pricing. Set your prices. Running out of money is the number one reason why handmade businesses fail, and not pricing for profit is how that happens. Your prices, the amount that your customer pays you, is how you make money. It's the only revenue coming in. So you want to make sure that you are pricing for profit, the ability to pay yourself for your hard work and on your time. Set price points for all the products that you're going to launch with. You want to make sure that you understand your numbers, your cost of running your business, your cost of creating your supplies in order to do that. Another reason why having a good bookkeeping system to support you is so essential. You want to consider your product costs, the overall cost of running your business, and your ideal margins in order to price your products properly. It's all about knowing your numbers and knowing what financial goals you're aiming for. It really has nothing to do with comparing to other online shops who are selling products. So please try to resist the temptation to do that. There are a lot of sellers out there who are underpricing their goods and they will not be here next year. They will have run their shop into the ground. So try your best not to compete on price or look at what other people are doing when it comes to their prices. For more information on profitable pricing for handmade products, check out my video and my free worksheet on how to price handmade goods. Don't forget to consider the cost of shipping your products also. That's a big expense that a lot of us forget in the beginning when we are setting our prices, and it can really eat into your profit margin if you don't have a plan for how you're going to cover those costs. Now, all that being said, don't spend too much time in analysis paralysis here. We can look at numbers and run different pricing strategies all day, but you can always tweak your prices if needed. So come up with some numbers that make sense to you and know that you can always change these if you need to. 7, get your sales tax permit if needed. So if you're a U.S. seller in a state that has sales tax, you most likely need to get a sales tax permit, even if you're only selling online out of your house. Most states require a sales tax permit from the very first dollar of sales. There's not a minimum threshold of sales that you need to hit before you're required to get one. So don't procrastinate on doing this. It's an essential step of operating legally. Now, I could talk about sales tax all day, but let me just give you the quick and dirty of what you need to know here. Figure out if what you're selling is subject to sales tax in your state. So most physical products are subject to sales tax if it's a physical, tangible product. Now, if you're selling a digital product, those are subject to sales tax in about half of the US. So you may or may not need to get your sales tax permit depending on what state you're in if you sell a digital product. If your state has sales tax and your product is taxable, register for your sales tax permit under your business name, usually with your state's Department of Revenue. So you can Google your state plus Department of Revenue to find where to get started. Make sure you set up your shop to properly charge the proper sales tax to the proper customers at the proper rate if needed. Every e-commerce platform handles this a little bit differently. Some will do it for you and you don't need to do any setup after you get that registration. So if you have questions about what you need to do in your state or wherever you're selling online, feel free to ask me in the comments. Make sure you note in your calendar when your sales tax forms are due with your state's Department of Revenue after you get that permit. It could be as often as every month, it could be every quarter, or it could be annually. But you want to file on time, even if you have no sales to report or no sales tax owed. Finally, for your 8th step, set up shop. Get your products listed in your new online shop of choice. You will need product photos. You will need to write copy about your products. You will need to look at keywords and tags or SEO research to describe each product. Don't hem and haw too much over these finer points, over getting the most perfect keywords or the most perfect photos. Again, you can tweak as you go and refine as you grow. This is all about minimum viable product, going from zero to launch, being ready to make sales and getting your stuff out there. When you get your products in your shop system, make sure that you have sales tax set up properly, make sure that you have your prices set properly, and that you have your shipping prices and costs considered as well. Now you're ready to launch. So get the word out about your business and start talking to your ideal customers. This is where we get into the world of marketing and finding people to buy the thing, right? But you've launched, now you've covered all your bases and your stuff is ready to be sold. Those are my 8 essential steps to getting a handmade business up and running. Notice I didn't mention anything about branding, designing your logo, figuring out your packaging, etc. As creatives, I think there are so many steps of this process that we can get hung up on. We can get stuck in the dreaming and pondering phase or analysis paralysis, depending on your personality type. If you're a researcher like me, you may go down the rabbit hole of Google really quickly. But these things can eat up our time and energy, and sometimes leaving us feeling so overwhelmed that we may just not launch at all. We may just sit in this pondering, dreaming phase for weeks or even months. The magic happens once you launch and put yourself out there. You have to get your products seen by other people out in the world, start marketing, start making mistakes. It's totally fine. We learn from them. We all do it. Make a few sales, get some data under your belt so that you can have feedback to tweak and grow from there. Now that you know all the steps to getting your handmade business launched, the next important thing is to ensure that you have a great overview of all of your finances. You're tracking those numbers somewhere. The good news is that I've done the groundwork for you by creating simple bookkeeping systems made especially for makers and e-commerce sellers just like you. My spreadsheets will help you with tracking your expenses, knowing your profit margins, setting profitable prices, and getting ready for tax time without the stress or overwhelm. Plus, you get plenty of support from me, and I'm a CPA. Visit paperandspark.com/shop or click the link below the video description and get your spreadsheet today.